Hello again, students. This is kind of the last of a series of presentations about what goes into your thesis. And in this presentation, we're going to talk about what goes into Chapter 2. Now remember, the goal of Chapter 2 is to review and critique previous research. This is a literature review. So the entire chapter is about looking back toward materials that have been written about the subject that you're pursuing. Remember that it's written to an unknown audience. It's not written to me, your professor. It's not written to your thesis supervisor. It's not even written to your thesis committee. It is written to people who will be reading your thesis beyond that immediate group, because we hope that it'll be beneficial for ministries in the church. It should reveal a historical background of previous research. Here's what other people have done. Here's what they've discovered. Here's what they've written. Here's what they've concluded. It analyzes existing research for problems and gaps. Sometimes you'll find in the literature review there'll be a body of knowledge that agrees with a certain point and a body of knowledge that disagrees. That should be represented in Chapter 2. And this chapter is written to provide a theoretical framework for the research that you're doing and that you're reporting in the rest of your thesis. I like this statement from Kunuda and Germain. The review of the literature provides an important connection between existing knowledge and the problem being investigated. It sets the issue you will study in the context of a bigger picture. In other words, you haven't just grabbed an idea and decided to try to discover something about it. You've been looking at what others have said, what others have studied, in order to fit your research into what they may or may not have learned. Mackey and McVoy provide this chart for literature review. They call it the literature review model. It begins at the top with selecting a topic, then developing tools of argumentation, searching literature, surveying the literature, critiquing literature, writing the review, and then back again through the topic. I want to notice some very specific steps in here. You're developing tools of argumentation. You're developing an argument and moving that argument step by step by step through what you find in the literature and then through your own research. So early on in this process, you're looking for evidences and claims from what other people have found. Then you search the literature. This has to do with what should be included or excluded. Not everything you find should be included. Not everything you find on a topic relates to your research. You want to make sure that you don't chase rabbit trails and ideas that are not related. That only confuses your reader. So as you search the literature looking for the materials that fit with your research, then you're going to go back and read the literature that you found that truly did fit and survey that and begin to identify themes and concepts and ideas that they have, and you'll begin to see a grouping take place. Now, as you do that, you're going to build a case for an argument, or maybe a couple of different arguments, based on the evidence that comes out of this literature. Once you put all that together, you're going to critique the literature and come to a point where you say this makes a series of claims, provides evidence for this. This group took a different view, and they have evidence claims, and then you're going to critique that. This is well said. This is helpful. They've left gaps here. These are not your opinions. These are conclusions that you're working with from other people that you're writing about. And then once you write your review, you're supporting your conclusions and identifying any conflicts that would affect your own research. Now, Mackey and McAvoy also talk about how you write the review. And I think these are four good steps. You assess and organize what you've read. You've kept good notes. You know who agreed with who and what different points should be there. Then you analyze and compose using probably the topics you discover as the outline or the headings in chapter 2. Once you compose, you're going to revise and refine. As you do your research, you may find a month or two down the road, oh, here's some more material I hadn't realized. And so you'll revise that and continue to refine it before you finally publish it in your thesis. Now, good literature review will do 6 things. It will identify and present the relevant references. Again, you don't want just all the stuff you find. You want to make sure that you've made very clear gatherings about this concept, and this concept, however that goes together. You want to include contrasting positions. This is not all about being positive in this place, but oh, this person had a criticism of this. Well, here's why. And it begins to set the tone for your research and whether you're going to agree or disagree with what you discover. It should summarize and connect the relevant references. So you're going to have maybe 4 or 5 books represented under one topic and 3 or 4 articles represented in another. You're going to organize that and see how they support each other. You're also going to organize and articulate the key concepts coherently. So you want to make sure this is very organized, that follows logic, that you make the case for people who agree. You also make the case for people who disagree. You point to the significance of the positions represented. You're not doing this just for fun. You're saying, no, this has a purpose. This has a reason. And you do not make unsupported assertions or conclusions. You want to make sure that everything you write about is cited and supported by the research that you did. Then finally, the suggestions for chapter 2 is to clarify the purpose of your research. Your next step is to develop a proposal for the research that you're going to do in a church or through a literature review or other kind of research. You want to clarify that. That's what the literature review will help you do. Then you're going to use the topics or concepts discovered to outline the chapter 2. Those concepts may also outline your research steps later in your thesis plan. Be aware that the reading may affect your original plans. You may find something and think, oh, that's a really good point. I hadn't considered that. And you go back and do some rewriting. Again, do not state your opinion or conclusions. This is not written in first person. This is all in third person from the authors that you've researched and read. You will write and rewrite this chapter several times. You'll maybe sketch it out, go back and say that doesn't make sense and reorganize it. You may write a paragraph. I remember writing paragraphs that didn't make sense, and I went back and even eliminated some paragraphs because they didn't fit. And then you want to make sure, as you did in chapter 1, want to make sure that everything is cited appropriately, because this is all about the literature that you've studied. So I hope that's helpful. I hope that helps you outline your literature review in chapter 2. These are the sources I used, some of those that you're aware of, and I wish you the best in this.